because you know the burden of proof is what? To find out that why did it call the Syrian our brother?
So what it is, this is Yashar from God Was Manifesting in the Flesh Church out here in Long Beach, California once again. And what he's trying to do is go over Deuteronomy chapter 26, verses 1 through 5, but he's going to contradict himself. He's going to break down this scripture wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Job, once again, chapter 12, okay, and verse 20, the Most High takes away the understanding of the ancients, which are the elders, the ancients, or the aged, which are the elders. He's taking away their understanding in which they really never had. Okay, so let's go over this. Okay, and you're going to see he's not going to know what he's talking about, and he's going to break down the scripture wrong, incorrectly, because they're finished. The Most High is done with them. Okay, and whoever's following them, you need to come out from among them. Okay, like the scripture said, come out from among them, my people. If you're the Most High's people anyway, you're going to come out from among them, okay, and come and be with Christ. Serve Christ in righteousness and trueness according to the Bible, not by no corrupt Hebrew Masoretic text that came from Leningrad, that came from the Gnostics, and not by no Septuagint. All we need is the Bible, and that's it. But let's go and check out this video.
You know, that's the burden of proof. Why did they call the Syrian our brother? Because Esau, we know, was our brother basically based on the scriptures. So now, how do we know that what you're saying is not, you know, you're not just making it up? That you know that the scriptures say that Esau is Jacob's brother. So now, how can you say that the Syrians are Jacob's brother? Well, we're gonna find out. Deuteronomy 26:1. And it shall be when thou art come in unto the land which the Lord thy power giveth thee for an inheritance, and possessed it, and dwellest therein, is the Most High speaking to Jacob, that thou shalt take of the first of all the fruit of the earth, which thou shalt bring of thy land, that the Lord thy power giveth thee, and shalt put it in a basket, and shalt go up unto the place which the Lord thy power shall choose to place his name there. And thou shalt go unto the priest that shall be in those days, and say unto him, I profess this day unto the Lord thy power, that I am come unto the country which the Lord sware unto our fathers for to give us. And the priest shall take the basket out of thine hand, and set it down before the altar of the Lord thy power. And thou shalt speak and say before the Lord thy power, a Syrian ready to perish was my father. So who is he speaking about here? He's speaking about Abraham. So the scriptures call Abraham Syrian.
Now, this is way off. This is not speaking about Abraham. This is speaking about Jacob. If you read the scriptures correctly, this is speaking about Jacob. Let's go over that again. Okay?
Ready to perish was my father. So who is he speaking about here? He's speaking about...
If you keep reading it, it says, thou shalt speak and say... This is... Let's read it from the top. And it says, it shall be when thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance. What land is that? The land of Canaan, to possess it. Who did he give it to? Israel. After we had came out the wilderness for 40 years, to possess it and dwellest therein. It says, and thou shalt take of the first of all the fruit of the earth, which thou shalt bring of the land of the Lord, of thy land that the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shall put it in a basket, and shall go unto thee to the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name there. That's the land of Canaan. Okay? So this is not talking about Abraham. Okay? This is talking about after we came out. Remember, this is Deuteronomy. This is after we came out the wilderness. Okay? And thou shalt go unto the priest that shall be in those days, and say unto him, I profess this day unto the Lord thy God, that I am come unto the country which the Lord sware unto our fathers for to give us, to Abraham, Isaac, and to Jacob, the land of Canaan. And the priests, now remember, these are the priests, so these were the Levites. Okay, we were already a nation. After we had came out the land of Egypt, we were already a nation. This is Deuteronomy. We were already a nation by now. It said, the priest, the Levite, shall take the basket out of thine hand and set it down before the altar of the Lord thy God. And thou shalt speak and say before the Lord thy God, a Syrian ready to perish was my father. Okay? Now, who's the Syrian ready to perish with our father? Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. Okay, it's not talking about Abraham. As you keep reading it, it tells you, and he went down, this Syrian that was ready to perish was my father, talking about Jacob, and he went down into Egypt. When we went down into Egypt, Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1, all the way down, we went down to Egypt and sojourned there with a few and became there, what? A nation. That's talking about Jacob when he went in with 70, and we came out a nation out of the hand of Egypt, out of the hand of the Egyptians with Pharaoh, and became there a nation great and mighty and populous. And then you keep reading it and it says, verse 6, and the Egyptians evil entreated us and afflicted us, and laid upon us hard bondage. Okay, so that's talking about Jacob. That's not talking about Abraham. So Jacob was called a Syrian. Now we know that Jacob wasn't a Syrian. That Jacob was who was our forefather. His name was changed to Israel. He was a Hebrew Israelite. Okay, this is our forefather, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. Now the scriptures refer to him as a Syrian because he spent 20 years in Syria serving Laban, who was his uncle, okay, who was his uncle, not his immediate brother. So he called him, Laban called him his brother, and Jacob called him his brother because they dwelt in the land of Syria over 20 years. And they were all related. They were all Hebrews, okay? So this has nothing to do with Abraham. See, he didn't went off, and this will be the last one I make.
So the scriptures call Abraham Syrian. But he really was a Syrian, but he was living in that land. Because where was Abraham born? He was born in Ur of the Chaldees, right? So if he was born in Ur of the Chaldees, why did they call him Syrian? It was because when he left out of the journey that Turkey, that's why it called it.
I'm skipping.
Syrian. They called Rebecca Syrian. They weren't Syrian.
Yeah, they wasn't.
You know, they were Abraham's line.
They were Hebrews.
And one of Abraham's brothers, and I believe the brother's name was Nahor.
Laban, they wasn't Abraham's line. They was of Nahor's line.
Nahor. All right.
Okay.
And I'm gonna show you that. All right. But before I go to.
Okay, they was of Nahor's line. Terah had Nahor and Abram. Okay. Nahor got with Milcah in Genesis chapter 22, verses 20 to 22. Okay, and they had Bethuel. Okay, Bethuel had Rebecca. Rebecca and Isaac got together, okay? And they had Jacob and Esau. Now, Rebecca was a sister to Laban, okay? Laban had a daughter named Rachel, okay, who got with Jacob, okay? And from there, you got the 12 tribes, along with Rachel, Leah, and the concubines, okay? So what is he talking about? That, you know, they all were Syrian in the sense that they dwelt in the land, which he said, and that's why they called each other brothers. But they wasn't from the same, they wasn't, the Syrians, when you read Genesis chapter 10, okay, Genesis chapter 10 and verse 22, it says, the children of Shem is Elam, Asher, and Arphaxad, and Lud, and Aram. Aram is the biblical name. Aram right there, okay? Genesis 10:22. Aram is the biblical name for Syria. That's why some people say you speak Aramaic. That's the Hebrew that they spoke in Syria, or Aram, okay? But now the Syrians existed before Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So how could Jacob be Laban's brother if Jacob Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob didn't even exist. But the Syrians existed. So the Syrians was a whole different nation than Israel, okay, that existed before Israel. So Israel was dwelling in that land, and that's why they called them Syrian, and that's why they called each other brother, because they dwelt in the land, not that they was actual brothers like Esau is a brother to us, okay? And with that, I'll say shalom, study to show yourself approved, and grace and glory be to the Most High and Christ. Shalom.